loads of you guys have been in touch to tell me that I did that test wrong. Yeah, we'll do the same test we did before. And I reckon that will do. Next up, Heidi's doors. One of these doors I'm not going to be using. My good friend Rob has got no confidence on the primer that's been put on the door shuts of the body shell. We're not prepared to trust any of this paint. I had to remove this window channel and the screw hole for it was actually too big due to rust. Alright, well this is turning into an absolute mission. As usual, everything takes longer than I think it will. I've been battling bad weather. Our place is an absolute mess at the moment. Even in the kitchen, finish just came out really matte. Pinholes here. And there's another little bit. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and in this video I'm going to be turning my attention back to Heidi, my hearing aid beige Mk2 Escort. I'm hoping in this video to get the inside of her doors painted, and we might also be getting an update from my good friend Rob on the paintwork that he's doing to Heidi's body shell. But before all that, you'll remember in the video before last, I thought I'd found a dodgy diode in the VVT wiring for Esther, my Mk1 Escort. But loads of you guys have been in touch to tell me that I did that test wrong. So I'm going to retest that in a few minutes. But before that, I've been working on another one of Heidi's parts in my shed here at home. So I've got the steering column here that I removed from Heidi in the video before last, and you know the drill by now. This thing has been keyed up. I've then given it a clean with white spirit just because I don't have any degreaser in my shed here at home, and then I've masked up all the key barrel and stuff, and I've given the column a coat of this zinc primer. My local car paint shop was shut when I was getting the materials for this because yeah, it was Saturday late afternoon, so I had to go to Halfords, who sell this zinc primer that I have used before, and it looks like it's dried okay, no reactions or anything. I did mask up the spline at the bottom of the column as well because that goes into the steering knuckle, so I didn't want any paint on there. But yeah, on top of the zinc primer, I'm going to put some Halfords satin black. So I'm going to give this a quick dust coat, and then I'm going to go round to the garage where Esther is to redo the test on her VVT diode. So this time, not only have I unplugged the wiring from the ECU, but I've also unplugged the VVT itself, and I'm going to do the same test I did before to see if we can figure out if this diode is faulty or not. Now, a few of you let me know that the reason that's got a diode in that wiring is to stop electrical spikes making their way back towards the ECU. So in my mind, if the diode was faulty and it was allowing electricity both ways, that probably wouldn't give me the symptoms I'm getting with my VVT issue anyway. And the fact that once I'd hit this VVT pulley with a hammer, it appeared to make it work slightly better when I looked at the laptop, that makes me think that my actual fault is probably being caused by a faulty pulley. But yeah, we'll do the same test we did before on this diode anyway. And I'll use both of the modes on this multimeter like I did last time. So, you know, the way I test for continuity usually is this mode here with a 200. We'll test one way and then the other. So this way you get a reading 118.3, and if we swap these round we don't get a reading. And we'll just try this other mode that people said I should be using. Switch the leads around again, so that way we get 183, and then the other way we don't get a reading. So therefore, it looks like the diode is working correctly because it's only letting electrical current to go one way, and that's basically what a diode does. And the reason it appeared that it wasn't working before is because with this plugged in and me measuring the diode, what I was actually measuring was the solenoid itself. So massive thanks to everyone who got in touch to let me know that I did the test wrong before. Yeah, I really appreciate all your guys' advice. But in terms of what I'm going to do next on this thing, I'm going to get the timing pin that I don't have here that I can put in to the block, and then using that and the timing bar I can check if the top end is in time with the bottom end, which I'm pretty sure it will be, but you know, I want to check that before I start taking it apart. But essentially what I'm going to end up doing is taking it all apart to replace this VVT pulley. I've got at least one spare of those in the other garage as well. So yet again, to be continued with Esther. But for now, I'm going to get back round to my shed and give that column a final coat of satin black. And I reckon that will do. Don't think I've missed anything. And I'll unmask it and we'll have a run report later on in the video. But yeah, next up, Heidi's doors. Hello, into a new day, and half of it has already gone. I've actually decided that one of these doors I'm not going to be using on Heidi. This one, the outer skin is just dented. It's really, really bad. This was the one that Chris Kember at Clump Fab actually put a plate in here, and there might have been some other welding somewhere, but you know, to get this skin straight is going to take a lot of effort from someone way more skilled than me, and or a load of filler. So yeah, I don't think it's worth using. I do of course have Heidi's original doors over here, and the skins on them are quite decent, but the doors themselves are rotten. I think the left one, which that one is, yeah, the skins, I think the skins are rotten at the bottom, but in general, that skin is way better than this one. But I don't think I'm going to go through the hassle of having the skin removed from that one and then fitted to this one, because then the skin will still need repairing at the bottom. I think I'm just going to try and find a really, really decent passenger side front door and use that instead. So that means I've only got 1, 2, 3 doors to prep the insides of. And yeah, similarly to how I did the boot, I'm planning to paint these myself with rattle cans, the 2-pack rattle cans, which seem to give a good finish. I will be running the full door cards and stuff, so I'm not going to worry about painting the middle area here. I'll probably, you know, go up to sort of here. Now, unfortunately, these doors have been, you know, hit with some sort of primer in the past. And to be honest, my good friend Rob, who's currently doing some paintwork on the body shell, has got no confidence on the primer that's been put on the door shuts of the body shell, because he's found some bits that look like they're pickling up. He's also found bits that are chipped off and there's clearly shiny paint behind it. So yeah, we're not prepared to trust any of this primer. You know, if they haven't keyed up the paint behind it, then, you know, one day you'll slam the door and, you know, paint will start chipping off. So this is pretty much going to have to get taken down to bare metal. If not, it'll have to get taken down as far as the original paint, which will then get keyed during the process of sanding it, and then I can paint on top of that. So yeah, it's probably going to be quite a lot of work, but it'll be worth it when it's done. Now, I do need to remove this striker thing. To get that out of my way, I'll be getting that zinc plated. I don't think I'm going to bother removing things like the window winder or, you know, this interior handle for now. Maybe those bits will get removed before I actually put the beige paint on, because yeah, I'm definitely going to need to give the inside of the doors a hoover out. I'll probably bung some sealer on the back of these welds that Chris Kember did for me to block off the trim holes. So yeah, for now I'll just remove what I really need to, and that is basically just this thing here. I have noticed on this door we've got 1, 2 tiny rust holes. They will be getting fiberglass filler, which I know is a bodge, but you know, they're such tiny holes. As well as removing the door catch, I had to remove this window channel, and the screw hole for it was actually too big due to rust. I removed these 2 bungs and then started stripping the paint off with the wire brushes on my drill. It's a really time-consuming job with all different contours to try and get the various wire brush attachments into. Getting into the areas around the hinges is particularly difficult. And then I decided to see which areas I was able to hit with my DA sander. Alright, well, this is turning into an absolute mission. There's just so many areas that can't be hit with the DA, and in fact some of these areas I can't even get with the wire brush very well. But yeah, I'm going to go back to the wire brushes now and just yeah, just carry on trying to make this thing bare metal. Around here was a bit easier, apart from this sort of corner here. But yeah, you know, bits like this where I've gone back to the original colour. This was obviously a green door originally. You know, that's fine, because that's the original paint. It's keyed up, that's fine. But it's all the primer that was put on top of it that I don't really trust. Yeah, I'd like to get this one door at least to the point where I could degrease it and hit it with epoxy primer today. That would be a a good goal. My original goal today was to get every single door in epoxy primer and possibly even hitting it with the 2-pack primer, but as usual, everything takes longer than I think it will, but it's fine. Still not decided if I'm going to get these bits welded up yet or just fiberglass them. This bit here where there was a screw that holds that channel in, you know, if I don't have that welded up, I'll just have to have a big fat washer there. But, you know, if I'm going to weld that up, then I may as well get whoever's going to do that to do this as well. Probably better off, you know, getting every door stripped, because there might be another couple of bits like that on some of the other doors, and then it'll be more of a worthwhile job. Let's get the wire brushes back out and crack on. The wire brushes on the drill just do a much better job of getting in all the nooks and crannies, but it is very time consuming. But once everything was properly bare metal, I then went over the areas that I could with the DA sander to smooth the metal off, and then I gave the door a quick hoover out. Alright, I am fast running out of light, but it looks like I'll be able to get this in epoxy primer today, which is good. Just need to give it a quick degrease before I start spraying the epoxy primer on. One thing I've learned about doing this door, which I'm going to carry on into the other doors, is that you're better off just doing everything pretty much with wire brushes and then going over it with a DA afterwards. Because yeah, I've wasted loads of DA sanding discs doing this, yeah, unnecessarily. But we are where we are. You know, I've bare metaled it enough in this way that, you know, once this bit's painted and the door card's on, it will look absolutely fine. I can't remember whether the GL door cards come all the way to the top of the door or not. That's why I kept this bit, you know, quite smooth. And, you know, this is the original green, which is now keyed, so that'll be fine. One thing I did do off camera was I went in here again with the little wire brush and just dug that out. And yeah, and then smoothed the flat bits off afterwards. So yeah, let's give this a degrease and then spray on the epoxy. Not really sure if that's supposed to be bent like that. Let's have a quick look at one of the other doors. This one seems a little bit bent. This one isn't, and that one isn't. I think I'll tap that down. Won't be able to do it after it's painted, that's for sure. It does look a bit ropey now, but that's just where the check strap leans against. Well, from what I can see in this light, it's actually looking pretty damn good. Yeah, literally only got a few more minutes of light left, so time to pack up. All right, just sitting in traffic on the way home, and I am so glad that I at least got the inside of one of those doors in epoxy primer today, so I actually feel like I've achieved something. But I do genuinely reckon I'll be able to do the other two a lot quicker. They are rear doors, so there's probably less surface area, but I reckon if I just focus on using the wire brushes more, you know, now that I've sort of decided that, you know, that area is going to be bare metal, I can just dive into it with the wire brushes and then just go over everything afterwards with, you know, the DA to try and smooth it off as best as I can. Obviously, in an ideal world, you'd want to use the DA because then it leaves the surface smooth, right? It leaves, you know, the paint or the metal smooth. But because it is going back to bare metal, it doesn't matter, you know, as long as there's no big gouges in it, which there won't be. The rough surface will actually make the epoxy primer stick better, and then the 2-pack primer, by the time you've prepped it, will bury any of the finer scratches, so it's going to be absolutely fine. And yeah, I just need to find a decent passenger side front door for a 4-door Mark II. So if any of you guys out there have got any 4-door doors that you're selling, do get in touch. My email address is in the description as usual. Now, I've actually got Heidi's rear doors in the back with my trestle, with my DA sander, with my wire brushes for the drill, and I'm going to be cracking on with those 2 doors at home tomorrow. I really hope it's not going to rain tomorrow, because then I'll just be able to do it in the back garden. And I think I'll just continue this video once I've got them in epoxy primer, unless I find anything tragic. I'll show you that. Yeah, and then I'll be able to show you the unmasked painted steering column as well. So I'll see you in a sec. Hello, into a new day. It's actually been a few days since the last clip and I've been battling bad weather trying to prep the inside of Heidi's rear doors. About 2 or 3 days ago, I managed to make a start on stripping all the paint and hitting the surface rust of the inside of one of the rear doors, and then rain stopped play. And then the day after that, the weather forecast said that it was only going to be raining until about 12. So I was sitting indoors waiting. 12 o'clock came, it was still raining. 1 o'clock came, it was still raining. 2 o'clock came, it was still raining. And then at about 2:45, I made the decision to carry the other one of the rear doors that I hadn't started yet round to my garage here at home. I pulled Esther, my Mk1 Escort, out in the rain, and I cracked on with stripping the inside of the other rear door with my portable drill and the wire brushes. And then today, even though it's grim outside, it was dry enough for me to give the inside of both of the doors another tickle, with the wire brushes, and then smooth everything off as best as I could with the DA sander. And I have now got both of the rear doors, the insides of the rear doors, in epoxy primer. And I've brought them inside here to dry. Don't tell my beautiful girlfriend Kat. Now, before I show you them, I've got some other really cool stuff to show you. Our place is an absolute mess at the moment. Even in the kitchen here, I've got boxes of merchandise, and in those boxes is the pre-order items and the last batch of 2024 calendars. I think at the time of recording this, there's 4 left in stock and there won't be any more. So if you haven't already grabbed your Marcus Hayes 2024 calendar, I suggest you head over to the website and grab yours now. As for the pre-order items, I'm recording this on Thursday, hoping to put this video out on Thursday, and me and my beautiful girlfriend are gonna work through the night to get all the pre-order items checked, tagged, and bagged, and we'll be posting them out tomorrow on Friday. So they should be with you guys before Christmas, although they have come in here to MHHQ a bit later than I was hoping. So almost got a bit anxious about the pre-order items, but massive thanks to everyone for your patience. Now, while we're on the subject of merchandise, I've now got all these new items that are available on the website and ready to order. We've got stickers featuring the new designs, which look awesome. I've got mugs that feature the new designs, and I'm so happy with how these came out. For the first time, I've actually produced black mugs, and this is something that loads of people have asked me about in the past. These are actually produced in a different way. The process for putting the artwork onto the mug is called UV direct to film, and it leaves this really cool sort of 3D embossed effect. So yeah, absolutely love them. These are not dishwasher safe though, so it's worth noting. But the new designs obviously feature really cool artwork of Mk1 Esther's ST170 engines. Yeah, chuffed with them. And for the first time, another thing that loads of people have asked me about are these workshop banners. Now, I've got both designs available in white and black background. And yeah, these are on the website, ready to order now. I've got very limited number of these because I wasn't sure how well they would do. They're made out of PVC, and they've got this sort of border protection on the back to keep the banners in good shape, and these really cool eyelets which make hanging them up a lot easier. I need to decide whether I'm going to have one of each in black or white for myself. But yeah, really happy with the new merch. As always, super high quality stuff, super low profit margins, and ready for you guys to order if you would like to. So head over to my website at marcushayesuk.com and grab some bits if you fancy. All right, before I show you Heidi's doors, let me show you her steering column, which I'm actually not really happy with. The finish just came out really matte, and it was supposed to be satin black paint. Now, I don't know if there was a mistake in the factory and that was actually matte paint in that can, or maybe the Halford satin black just doesn't give as much of a satin finish as the other satin black paint that I used to paint all these other bits. Now, it's not the end of the world. It is only a steering column. You're not going to see most of it, you know, when the cowling and stuff is on. So yeah, I don't know whether I'm going to mask this up and maybe respray it, because if I do that and then I get some sort of reaction between the two types of paint, then I'll just regret that I bothered. And it is quite intricate trying to mask up this barrel. So chances are I'll probably leave it as it is, and I'll just stay away from Halford spray cans in future. But yeah, I'm running out of space to store these satin black bits. Got the seat rails, the pedal box parts. But yeah, really excited to start bolting some of these bits back onto Heidi's body shell when the time comes. So now on to the doors, and I've got one of them in the hallway here. This was the one that I primered first, so you know it's touch dry now. And yeah, didn't find any rust on this one at all. Really happy with how it's come out. And the other one I've actually got drying in my living room. Over here on the floor, just got it leaning on some old trainers just to keep it off the floor. Now this one I found a couple of little spots of rust. We've got a couple of really small sort of pinholes here, and over here there's another little bit, but that's it, you know, so not the end of the world at all. And yeah, I'm just so glad that I managed to get these bits in epoxy primer. The weather really has been hindering me. It's mad to think that in this video I was expecting to get all of the doors, the insides of the doors, in paint, and yeah, everything just takes way longer than you expect, but progress is progress. Now, in terms of the body shell that my good friend Rob is working on, that's turned into a bit of a nightmare as well, because Rob doesn't trust the primer that's been used, you know, on the door shuts. He's having to strip the door shuts back to bare metal, and yeah, it really is a time-consuming job. I'm probably gonna have to go around there in a few days myself and give him a hand, just to, you know, save him the labour, and yeah, hopefully save me a few quid on the job. So yeah, everything on Heidi is being pushed back a little bit. I still haven't heard back from the platers, and I've got a load of more stuff to take down to him. I don't want to rock the boat too much. I always get messages from you guys asking where I get my plating done, and the company's actually asked me not to broadcast them, not to promote them at all, because they're just so busy. They don't need any more work, and I don't want to be in a situation where they sort of say to me they can't do my bits anymore. So I'm just gonna have to be patient with the platers. I also haven't yet been down to see Microblast Services about getting some of Heidi's bits powder coated. So, you know, everything's taking, you know, a while. Rob doesn't mind if the body shell stays there a little bit longer. It's not in his way. And I think realistically, I'm gonna have Heidi come back to the garage just on a trolley, and then I can take my time, you know, getting her back on her wheels and stuff. I don't want to be putting rusty bits back onto her just for the sake of it. I'd rather wait until everything's back from platers, everything's back from the powder coaters, and yeah, build her up properly. So yeah, stuff is happening, but it's just happening a bit slower than ideal. I'm not sure in the next video if I'm gonna have a go at looking at Esther, my Mk1 Escort again. I've brought my spare VVT pulley back home here, so I could dive into, you know, hopefully getting her back on the road. So that might be the next video, or I might be going down to Rob's, as I say, and giving him a hand, or, you know, spending time on some other bits for Heidi. But yeah, progress is getting made. I'm absolutely loving making progress on the cars, and loads of you guys have been in touch to say that you're really enjoying the more regular content as well. So massive thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in to my content. Huge thanks, of course, to my good friend Rob, if you're watching this video. Sorry the job is turning out to be a bit of a nightmare, but yeah, as I say, you know, I did plan to do a lot more in this video than I have been able to, but massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in to see what I have achieved. So I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe if you're new. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. Check out my website for merchandise and parts. Massive thanks to my patrons for your ongoing support. I'll leave all the links to everything in the description, along with my email address for anyone who wants to contact me. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.